Join us for a review of the Mercedes GLC Facelift S GLC 300. Let's go! Here in the front we can see main change with the facelift are those new daytime running lights together with new headlamps, standard now LED, optional, the one you can see here, the multi-beam LED for more high beam support. This here in the standard line has this dual horizontal fin grille. In the AMG line it would have this diamond pin grille, which would be my favorite as for the exterior design. 4.65 m, 15'3" or 183 inches is the length of the GLC SUV. You know, it's also available as a GLC Coupe, which would have the main difference that it has a falling roofline right there. Then wheels start from 17 to 19 inch in the normal GLC specs, which you can see here, the 19-inch ones in the AMG line. There's 19 or 20 inch, so a little bit bigger, and the GLC 63 even goes up to 21 inch, which is then very massive for this mid-size SUV. In the rear we can now see a modern tail lamp signature here. This is definitely fancier, so that's the main facelift change, GLC 300 badge. Overall then, I think, you know, not too much screaming out in the rear, rather round design. And the lower end here, this is typical fake exhaust tip. There's nothing in it, so the real exhaust underneath, yeah, dirt, fake exhaust, and Autogefuel. Here we go with the engine. Yay, hydraulic struts, love that. But I mean, for a vehicle that is between 40 and 80k, we can expect that. So 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engines like today also. There is a GLC 200 with around 200 horsepower and a GL3 300 with about 250 horsepower, 255 in US, 258 in Europe, so they're different just a little bit. 6.2 seconds is the acceleration figure, and here in the all-wheel drive today in the US it's also available as rear-wheel drive. And new with the facelift is that those two engines, the 2-liter 4-cylinder engines, come with an MHEV system, 48-volt board net for more recuperation, and also those sailing or coasting functions. Talking about more about that when we drive the car very soon. Here you can see the instruments all digital now, optional with this facelift, soon more to that, but you can see that at the moment it's all shut off. And then those seats here, again today in beige, but the animal skin spec, how do you see that? They have a little bit more elements here. Those elements you can see there and count. If it would be the Artico sustainable and animal friendly leather red seat, then it would have, I think, 5 elements in this back part, so that's how you can visually differentiate them. The Artico seat's really high class, and in Europe, especially Germany, you can get also a fabric base seat. Then you can get fabric on the inside and leather red on the outside, which would be an awesome mix. And then also in the US, you can get a full Artico seat. And the cool thing, they offer it in black, beige, gray, brown and red. So Mercedes offers one of the widest choices of different, more sustainable interior materials. Really well done as for the choice. And Dynamica on the inside, microfiber, and Artico on the outside would be for the AMG line. Then you have a little bit sportier and a little bit stickier on the seat when you go into those corners. Phew, yeah, so many things to tell you about the seating choices. You should check out the configurator or the build, how you call it in the US, and just play around with that a little bit. That's really a lot of fun in this case here also with the GLC. The new steering wheel with the facelift, you can see here left side is for the cruise control now, not a separate column. It's easier to set, and also those touch field, right button for the right thumb right there. This is then to control the right screen, and left thumb, left button for the left screen. This is also new. Now let's get inside, pretty easy entry. You already have an upright SUV seating position, that's cool. Somewhat similar to the BMW X3 as for the height, oval position and so on. Steering wheel has an electric function here, that's not based, that's an option. So it goes in and out and also up and down quite a lot actually. So welcome to this interior, let's turn everything on. You start with analog gauges on the left and optional those full digital 12.3 inch now with the facelift. And on the right side you start with a smaller 7-inch screen and optional this 10.25 inch screen. And both feature the MBUX, this new voice input system where you can, for example, say, "Hey Mercedes,
how may I help you?
Drive me to Berlin."
I am starting route guidance to Berlin.
So that's really perfect. You can change temperature, turn on off head-up display, even open and close the sunroof and so on. The best system there is on the market, and BMW on
Please proceed to
place
the
2 at the
highlighted
moment.
route.
So they're newest only in the big cars, not in the X3. So there, new BMW natural voice input system, also pretty cool. So that's one thing. Soon more deals to each of those screens. And again here the steering wheel, which is a little bit more fancy than before. Volume control here on the right side, and here with my right thumb I can control the right screen, and then you can also see how that works. But redundant controls I can also do it like here with a touch or touchscreen, and is of course also one of the big news. And then here in the lower console I can use this touchpad, that's also an option, and I can write an address there too. This is possible. And then with the left thumb I can control stuff here in the digital instruments and also change the styles and so on. And now to those digital instruments here, yeah, we can also rev it up then right there. And interesting thing is here, for example, you can have the fuel economy then right there. This is our realistic fuel economy at the moment. And the head-up display right there. The speed, you can also see the allowed speed and also some GPS information. So it's a very nice option. And the speed itself is the crispest, clearest one of that part. The other parts maybe a little bit out of focus from time to time, but overall it's still very helpful. And some more details about this screen. For example, let's take a look at the GPS up close. So it's a nice visualization, also zoom in and out, and usually also quite responsive. And the Apple CarPlay integration looks like this. Does not use all the way off the screen, but mostly the CarPlay is also not the widest screen format, and this optional Mercedes sound system here is delivering a very crystal clear sound. Awesome. The rear view camera is quite good as well too, by the way. Also shows you those helping lines, they adapt, and then you also have this drone view from above. But you can also set it to different views here on the right side, like to, all the way rear, for example, or that one here. And I want to show you also another example of this one here, so where the tires are being seen left and right. For example, if you approach a car wash and then you don't want to damage your wheels, then you can really adapt that. Yeah, that's cool, right? And also to the front view camera. So, but that's of course the optional, most sophisticated camera system there is available. Now to the rear, also with a nice soft touch article on the inside doors and the matte wood. That's awesome. Mercedes sound system here as well, and yeah, it does exactly fit. Those gaps here in the back of the seat, they are really helpful to give you some more knee room. It does exactly fit then for 4 tall adults. Here we go. Trunk can also be opened with a foot kick opening mechanism. Then you can actually lock this lower part. That's a pretty cool function. Then we have more storage underneath, and that's pretty square dimensions. And I really love this top cover, which has rails on the side, and it's a very, very clean solution. On the right side to flip the seat, and also on the left side, together with when you have the air suspension, you can also lower the car just a little bit. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Mercedes GLC in this facelift version. And as I told you initially, I'm going to talk about how does it feel differently from the pre-facelift. How does it feel differently from the BMW X3, one of the main competitors, and also from the Mercedes GLE, the bigger brother, if you're thinking about comparing those. And one of the changes here is that those 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engines are now MHEV, so mild hybrid systems. So with a battery that is bigger than a normal car battery, in the eco mode, the throttle input is being drawn back. and more attention to better fuel economy and so on, earlier shifting up and I can see if there's a power output from this MHEV system, or if there is this, by the way, the warning system here, the blind spot monitor, and if I set the turning indicator, then I also get an acoustic warning. Pretty good system, and you already experienced that as for the assistance now. So when I'm rolling downhill now in the eco mode, what's the car doing? It's recuperating a little bit, but also rolling. So it's more using a rolling. If I go, for example, to the comfort mode, it doesn't change so much as for the recuperation because it's still rolling. If I go to the sports mode, I have actually more engine brake because the car is, a gear lower, and the interesting thing is, it's charging more. So this is really interesting. I would have, wait a minute, now it's, but now it's charging more in the eco mode. So not always sure why is it doing that way or that way, because when we were at the beginning of the hill, the car wasn't charging that much. Maybe it's a thing, but when the car realized we're going down it for a longer time or so, that then the recuperation sets in. And this is really interesting because now the charging is less again, and now we are in the sailing mode. This is very interesting. So the RPMs dropped to 0, and now we're rolling and the engine is shut off. So, and this is a thing that is predominantly happening in this eco mode. So now we're sailing. Now I want to increase the speed once again a little bit more. That won't work that well when you are in the Distronic, in the cruise control mode, by the way. And I mean, that's really interesting because the sailing or coasting thing is something that should be favored by this MHEV system. So that's the reason to do that. And of course, using the recuperation then to get you some electric boost. I mean, for performance reasons, that's one thing. And the other thing is also when you are, getting started just from the traffic light, that you can save some fuel by adding this, electric power to it, which was again gained from recuperation earlier. So yeah, definitely very interesting first impressions. The question is always, does it make a huge difference in the fuel economy overall? And so far, from all our tests, we could say, if you have a proper plug-in hybrid system with a good recuperation, then this even made sense for the fuel economy, even if you were not recharging all the time. But those MHEV systems with the smaller batteries, on paper they were usually better, but then in real-life driving tests, usually it didn't play such a role for the fuel economy, and here as well. So, well, now in winter time, but even without using AC, we had numbers on long-term driving, which were actually a little bit worse than 9 liters to 100 kilometers, worse than 26 mpg US, 31 mpg UK. So that's already something good if you reach that, but usually the numbers were even a little bit worse. That is a little bit worse than we recently had with the BMW X3 with the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. So the BMW engine seems to be a little bit more economical in this case, but not too big of a difference. And again, it doesn't seem that this MHEV system would play a major role. I will check it once again when we're finished with this round, definitely on the fuel economy. Other than that, the facelift didn't change much as for the driving characteristics. I mentioned earlier that there are different suspensions available, base suspension, off-road or bad road suspension, which sits a little bit higher, sport suspension, which sits a bit lower. And then that's just a couple of €100 extra each, like 300 and 400. And then if you're going adaptive, like a little more than 1,000 euros or dollars, then you go with the adaptive suspension, which is already a nice choice. Definitely have more variety in the comfort and sportiness. And then this one, which we have inbuilt here today, more than 2,000 euros extra, is the air body control. So this one is the air suspension, and quite exclusively also for this segment, the Audi Q5 does offer that, for example, too. But the BMW X3, for example, not. Well, the adaptive suspension of the BMW X3 is really very, very good, so you're not missing an air suspension. And BMW has a very good compromise between sportiness and comfort. Here, so the compromise is better with the BMW. But here, the overall comfort is even a little bit better when you have the air suspension. Again, very smooth as for the steering wheel, even though it's not the sportiest one. Upright seating position, very comfortable on the long run. And I can, when I want to have the head-up display on, I'll just say, hey Mercedes, head-up display on, and then it's already happening,
What can I do for you?
Head-up display on.
The head-up display is on.
So then it was already on in this case, but I mean, that's pretty cool. Natural voice input and some stuff you don't have to search in the menu, and that's already it. So that's also very, very well done. The engine is very silent, very calm, especially when you are in the cruising modes all the time. I mean, the MF changes, yeah, it's nice. You can have some recuperation, but it's not like a major game changer. We've been running downhill now quite a lot of time. That's why the fuel economy is quite good at the moment. But still, that's around 9 liters. Although we have been, what's happening here? It's an accident. So although it was downhill, a lot of times, that should be way better now, So fuel economy, not happy with that. Would have expected more from this MF system. So sports mode, by the way, when sports plus, there's no one here at the moment. Let's just accelerate a little bit, see how much power this car has for you. So let's just go. So that's 70 kilometers an hour already. That went quite quick, and the absolute figure to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour would be 6.2 seconds. So yes, very silent and refined, this engine, but if you want the power, wow, you have it. And that felt to me even a little bit more spontaneous than the X3 I've just ridden like yesterday or like 2 days ago in the US. Maybe in this case, the MF is not that important for the fuel savings, but for the power boost. And now to our conclusion for the day with the Mercedes GLC here as the facelift. Exterior changes, not that much, of course. Yeah, lamps, new LED standard is good. Yeah, the daytime running light, or let's say like the signature in the tail lamps, also look more modern, a little bit cooler. Overall, an elegant design, definitely overall for the car. Interior, high build quality, and also vast choices of animal-friendly material. That is really where they are leading, together with Tesla, of course, who made that standard anyway. Also with those infotainment systems, upgrades, this is also pretty fancy. If you go for that one, it's an option, yes. But the MBUX is gladly standard, so with this voice input and so on, this is really leading on the market at the moment. And also some decent space they have there, especially flexible trunk system. That's pretty cool when you have that electric flipping system especially. Driving wise, so great, very well insulated. And wow, the air suspension is really so comfortable in this segment, leading in this segment to me. As for the comfort, yeah, maybe the BMW X3, for example, is a bit more sportier fun. But this one here, the Comfort King then, as for that. Definitely one of the best cars overall in the segment, and I also mentioned that in the driving part, recently at least for a German rating, with the TÜV ratings, so where they check the cars on mostly 2 or 3 year basis. This one here also scored the best result overall from all cars that have been tested, so it seems also to be a very reliable one. Then also, if you think about the engine, now with the new MHEV system, was a little bit disappointed that the fuel economy wasn't better, so that was actually one of the very few bad results about this review. However, the boost was a little bit better, so I felt that it was a little bit faster, more explosive as for the acceleration with this additional electric boost. So for solving the fuel economy problem, that's maybe where the new PHEV could step in, the 300e, and I hope to test that one also at a later stage. Now I'm also looking forward to your comments, and also told you a little bit more GLC versus GLE. In this case, this one here, especially with the facelift now, offers so many stuff that GLE is also offering that the difference between GLC and GLE is somewhat diminishing. Of course, there are still some differences, also mentioned those, but has been smaller now. Now, finished for the day. Hope I gave you a lot of interesting insight. Hope you enjoyed this episode together with us. And please also tune into more relevant reviews we have in the video description, in the pinned comment, like a GLE review, X3 review, GLC 63 review. We will also link those, so when you're finished with this video, you can also tune into other ones and maybe save them for later or whenever. Thanks so much for tuning in today, especially to our long-term subscribers. So great to have you here. See you next time.